How are you
Wonderful.
doing? I
I'm
feel like
good,
we're
thank
matching today as well. The
We
visors.
are. I've ever since I've seen you sort of wearing hats, it's been like I've started wearing them for the last sort of like 6 months, and honestly, like it's amazing. Your beanie game is always on point. It's amazing.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And now your beanie game is on point too.
Thank you very much
Um,
indeed. Thank you.
you know what? I was looking back at when we caught up, and it was in, I think, March of 2021. So
Oh my
it's been
god,
a long, long, long
flipping it!
time.
It's like a year and that's a year and a half. That's mental.
It
More than
is,
a
it
year and a
is.
half.
Well, you know what? It does give us a lot to talk about. A year and a half
Yes,
worth of
absolutely.
music.
Yes.
So
So
the last, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, what's been going on with you? Because I've not seen you for not seen you for ages. I've seen you been releasing music. I've loved all of it. But like,
Thank
how's
you
all
so
the
much.
stuff been going? You've been geeking as well, right?
Yes, yeah. I want to talk about your gigging game soon, but yeah, I did a show. I think it's a couple of weeks now, which was amazing with a full band for the first time. I've done some small sets before, so this was really really fun, and it was a great turnout. Got to do some original music.
Oh, amazing, brilliant. Oh, yeah, you're back.
So yes, so yeah, sorry, I had a phone call. I've
Ah,
always
right,
put
okay,
this
cool.
on
I thought
airplane
my
mode.
internet was playing up. That's all good for you.
No,
That's all
no.
good.
So yeah, it's been good. How was your show? I know you did the launch gig. Now, was it last week that
It
you
was
did it?
last night. Last night it was.
Last night. Ah,
Yeah,
how was that? How was that for you?
it was amazing. So it was a little bit different to what we've done before. So normally, all the gigs that I normally do, I go through a promoter, so like either Hotbox or sort of another underground sound. Um, but I had a meeting with my band, and we sort of decided that like we like because when you do those sorts of gigs, like at least our experience of it was that like you pester loads of people to come along to the gig, all your friends come along and they pay sort of whatever the asking price is to see you, but like because they're only there to see you and they're not interested in anyone else, they turn up to see you, then they leave,
Yes,
and so the whole thing feels a little bit sort of like a bit surgical, like that way. And then like the
100%.
ticket splits are always terrible as well. So sort of like and also like they're promoters, but like they don't promote you. They hire the venue out and you do all the promotions. Sort of you do all their work for them. They take like £9 out of the £10 of your tickets or whatever. So you don't
Right.
get any money off of it either. And so instead we hired out a venue this time. So we hired out the Troubadour last night, or I hired out the Troubadour last night. And I found the support acts and then sort of just did the whole night. We did it ourselves instead. Um,
Yeah.
and it was really nice. Like I was nervous because like I had the fear of like no one's going to turn up and I'm going to be playing to no one, which would be really horrible. And like because obviously people, I think at least especially like now post COVID, people don't buy tickets like in advance as much anymore. They buy them on the door, and so like
Right.
on the day of we'd sold like 10 tickets, and I was like, oh my god, there's the whole thing's gonna like it's like I've completely I've ruined the night.
Mm,
But loads of people turned up like on the door on the night, so it was fine. So
yeah.
I think I had 50 people turned up. Um,
Amazing.
so it's of the four apps that so like between four of us, but it meant that all of us got to play to like 50 people, and everyone stuck around and everyone cheered, and so it was a really like it felt like it was a much more like wholesome evening where everyone was a bit more
Oh
invested in
yeah.
like what was going on, as opposed to like because I think as well when you get put on a bill with people you don't know, then
Yeah.
the fans don't know you either. Sort of like all of the fans sort of knew people as well, so that everyone was sort of interested in what everyone else is doing. So no, it was a
Oh,
really
that
great
sounds
night,
amazing.
really
You
good
know,
fun.
the reason why I thought that was last week, because you've been posting quite a bit since, obviously for the
Yeah.
single release and everything.
Yes.
But I saw the clip with everyone singing along to the single, which obviously we can talk about in a second. But
Yes.
I can imagine how great of a feeling that is, especially when you're doing these shows out on your own. Because the funny thing is, I had this very conversation at the gig that I was talking about previously.
Right.
Gig promoters and organizers are useful in a sense to kind of find venues, kind of get other acts and sort out maybe some of the logistic stuff, but you are promoting it yourself, like you mentioned, and
Yeah.
there isn't a big cut. And I think some people coming to your show think that, oh, all the ticket sales are going to go to this act, like we're here to support. And
Yeah.
I even had friends sometimes to some of my shows would say, oh, I'm going to buy a ticket, but I can't make it. And I was like, I'd rather you hear the music because
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
nothing happens
Just turn
before.
up. I'd rather that exactly. Uh,
So I'm very glad that this is the first time you've kind of went out and done it on
yeah,
your own.
absolutely.
So I'm glad that's worked out really well.
Thank you very much. Speaking of like the whole like promotion stuff as well, like first, like sorry for doing it so much, but like I mean your promotion strategy, I was curious because like you seem to have it like on point. Like, do you have like a certain amount that, like, if you're releasing a single, for example, like I imagine you've got like sort of a content plan sort of moving up. Like, do you have like a certain number of posts that you do, or sort of like how much is too much,
Yeah.
not enough, like for you?
I think that's kind of changed. I remember we had a discussion about this like a year ago about
Yes,
like strategy, and it's so hard because I feel like I've completely changed how I thought like previously. Before, I
right.
would have a whole like literally a content calendar of
Mm.
all right, this needs to go out then, this needs to go out then. That's obviously because my day job is doing a lot of like content creation for different businesses. So I
Yeah,
thought like I took that into music, and it did work for a while. But I think it just changes completely. The ball game on social media is like one day it works one way, the next day it works differently. And, you know, if you try something and it suddenly works and you try do that again, sometimes it doesn't work.
yeah,
So it's so hard because I remember also we spoke about your reels that you've been doing.
yes.
They were amazing, and I felt like they were,
Thank you.
you know, they were really like, I don't know, you haven't been as consistent, but there may be a reason behind that. But it was, you know, you were doing something that you hadn't done before and it was working. But with Instagram's algorithm, like things can change in a second. So I
Yeah,
don't know if that
absolutely.
translates to fans or if that translates to people actually connecting with you, or just, oh, I've seen something funny, liked it and moved on.
Yeah, that's what I was finding with it. But like I was getting like a nice bit of traffic from the reels, and people were like, they were enjoying the content and they were finding it funny. But there was no sort of like, oh, and now I'll see what he's about. It's sort of like, oh, that's funny, and then on to the next one instead.
Right, right.
So it was sort of like obviously I enjoy sort of writing little like comedy bits like that. They are good fun. But at the
Yeah.
same time, it's kind of like it's how much you want like that to be the thing that you're sort of like putting
No,
forward. And I was having a really good chat with a friend, another chat with a friend of mine who's also an artist, last week, and we were sort of saying in terms of like actually putting yourself into a box, like is something that I personally find really, really difficult to do.
right.
Like because like
You know,
obviously,
and I caught, you know, I was, you know, when I was looking up some of the stuff that you were doing, you know, your YouTube channel for your like guitar channel, the LKG guitar that
yes,
you do, like that is actually doing really well. I think, you know,
yeah,
it's amazing, but it's then hard to translate something like that, which is still music, which is still connecting with people, to actually get them to listen to your original stuff. So
yeah.
even doing these blogs, you know, now I've kind of created a blog channel, and I'm going to I've got a new radio show starting up next month.
Oh wow,
But
congratulations.
thank you so much. I'm excited to kind of get into that routine again, but it's hard to connect my own music with the radio, no matter how similar the platforms and supportive the platforms are.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's a hard one to crack. It's a hard one to crack. But having said that, you know, last year we did connect with Matt Gino with your
Yes,
single Free.
yes.
That did really well. So firstly, congratulations. You've got
Thank you
like
very much.
17K, you know,
Yeah.
listeners. Yeah. So how was that experience? How was that release?
That release was fantastic. It was really good fun. I think we got like I mean it was nice having someone else promote it as well. I think like it kind of leads into the sort of the YouTube channel thing as well. I think if you've got like a degree of separation between what you're promoting and like what you are, I think it's a lot
Mhm.
easier for you to kind of step back and actually look at it a bit more objectively. So like with
Right.
the single, we're like, we've got a single, like we both need to promote this thing that is like, it's not like, obviously it's us, we've written it, but like this is the thing that's separate from both of us that we can both like, you know, look at
Right.
and promote. And I think that helps quite a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, we got lucky because like in a way, because obviously we released it like sort of while in the second lockdown. And
Mhm.
so we had the sort of the advantage of we submitted it to BBC Radio 4, I think it was, and they were doing like a lockdown thing. So like they were looking for songs that people had written in lockdown. So we got that, the boost from that, and we got a boost from loads of other stuff as well. So sort of a lot of fortuitous circumstances. I think, you know, as it is most of the time, sort of like
Yeah.
we've tickled some algorithm somewhere or something, and we go, oh, we love
Right.
that button, and then you know it
Yeah.
just depends. But no, it was really, really good fun. We really enjoyed it, and it was really nice. Just like, I mean, every single release I find is really fun as an experiment into like how you just trying out new things, sort of like new features come out on all the different social media platforms, like that you can like sort of test and try out. Like they're doing, I think Spotify are doing like an artist rap thing this year, where
Right.
you have a little like video, you can just like a little 30-second video just to say like thanks for being a fan, and so like you can have that on your Spotify. So then when the rap comes out,
Right.
if someone is like if if they're a top like Leo Killer G fan, then they get a little video from me just saying that, you know, thanks for being a fan, you know, make sure you check out stuff. So it's always like just looking for new stuff. So like every single time something comes out, it's like, okay, what's like, how's the game change? What new features are there that you can sort of like try and post and things like that. So like every single time it's a fun exercise. And you learn each time as well, don't you?
Exactly.
Some things do work, some things don't work.
Exactly.
So yeah,
one thing you've done for this latest single, that you haven't done before, as far as I know, that you haven't done before, is releasing merch. Firstly, I need to get some, because it does look really good. It's, you know, you've got some beanie games,
yes,
some t-shirts. How is venturing into that new space? Because that is quite a different thing to do, and it also quite sometimes feels quite overwhelming to get something like merch, you know, when you're kind of up and coming.
Yeah, absolutely. So like with merch, I think it's the reason I thought about merch in the first place is just because of the way that the sort of venue hire thing worked out. Because obviously you pay a deposit for to hire the venue out, and then they take, obviously, and you get all the ticket sales, but then of the ticket sales they take like 20% for like all ticket sales. That's just for that. So like whatever you take, you lose like 20% off of that, and then obviously it was divided between the 4 acts as well. So I was sort of thinking like, you spend all this money, and then actually to make it back, like how do you obviously if you're a big act and you're booking out like the O2 or something, like you don't make it back in ticket sales because obviously that will go. So it's merch basically. It's how you know, it's how people make money. And so I thought I'd just give it a go basically. And I just found like so the beanies were a bit more tricky because beanies I couldn't find like a print on demand place for beanies, but with the t-shirt, so there's a website called T-Mill where you can design your own t-shirt and they stock the t-shirts for you. So then people go on T-Mill, they buy your t-shirts. Obviously, T-Mill take like you take a cut of the profits, and T-Mill take a cut as well. But it means you haven't got to dump up any cash. You haven't got to buy like 20 t-shirts or fork out like 300 quid and then be stuck with like, you know, 17 t-shirts that you can't sell.
Exactly.
So in that sense, it was a little bit easier. The beanies, that wasn't the case. Like the beanies, like I had to buy like individual beanies. So like if people want beanies, like it's sort of like a message me, like I'll order you a beanie and then I'll give it to you, as opposed to because I can't one place. But I mean, yeah, like it's in terms of designing the merch, it like I think as long as you've got like a sort of a solid whatever it is like that you're doing. So sort of the headphones was lucky because it had like an actual like, you know, it was a word and it sort of had a bit of a design something on there as well. You know, as with your stuff as well, sort of like if you've got like lyrics and like, I mean, all of your album covers, they've got a really nice sort of like thing to it, and then obviously you always pick like a certain font, don't you, as well? So like the font itself is designed to look, you know, in a certain way, and so like if you can just take that and stick it on a t-shirt, like people love that kind of thing. You know, like if you bought out a t-shirt, like I'd buy it straight away.
Thank you. You know, I saw it and I was like, yeah, I think it's quite nice as well. Like, and anyone who is watching back, I think there's so much you can do to support an artist, and it actually doesn't make a big difference. Well, it makes a difference, sorry, but it's not a huge impact on an artist's life when you're sharing and streaming and putting it on your post. They're all important things that you can do for free. But sometimes like that extra help, I think, you know, recording a song, releasing the song, the marketing around it, you know, it's quite costly, it's quite time consuming. So I think the merch is quite a nice way to support an artist in a bigger way than just streaming their music. So I was really happy to see that you were doing that, and I hope people are supporting that as well. And
I'd encourage you to do the same as well. Like and you can. I mean, T-Mail's the only one that I tried, but the nice thing about it is that like it's like there's no risk to you, so that you can make the design. You make like that. They host the website as well. And so then you've got an ability, and you can try out loads of different designs as well. Obviously, there's like an edit function in there, so you can try the size, the color. They have like, there's not just t-shirts, and there's hoodies, there's like shorts, so you can do loads of different, whatever like would suit your particular brand or sort of what you think your fans would like to wear. Like I figured like quite a few of my friends, they wear beanies and they quite like sort of like they've got a very strong beanie game as well, and they also love buying like t-shirts. A lot of my friends go to a lot of gigs as well, so I was thinking, well, like t-shirt wise, that'd be a nice thing to have as well. So you've got to sort of like, you know, think what your fans would like to have, but they've got most of the stuff there anyway. So like in that sense, you know, like if it costs you nothing, you might as well give it a go, you know.
Yeah, no, there's no harm in trying anyway. So I think it's a cool feature, and one of the things that I really want to get into eventually is the hats. You know, I've done the Docker cap game for a while, and I feel like that is a signature. So hopefully soon. But let's talk about the single headphones. I've worn my headphones to talk about it today.
I have mine here just in case.
Just in case. There we go. how did that single come about? And I mean, I want to talk to you a little bit about it because I saw a caption to one of your posts about interpretation of music. So firstly, let's talk headphones. How did the single come about, and what's the meaning behind the song?
Okay, sure. So the meaning of the song is essentially it was supposed to be like a love letter to the feeling of basically like having your own music on, and sort of like the music being able to sort of transport you to whatever place it is you go when you listen to music. You know, like, and obviously like it can take you to so many different places. If you're happy, it can lift you up. If you're low, you can sort of you can really sort of plunge your own depths and sort of sort of revel in your own misery if you're really not happy, sort of thing. If you're feeling pensive, you can sort of, you can look out the window and just sort of, like however you're feeling, there's something for music. The music's got a mood for it, and so it amplifies it. So I wanted to have that kind of idea for it. And then in terms of like the sort of the song itself, like I had the sort of like that line, like I'm never alone in my brain when I've got my headphones on. Like that was what I had to start with. And then it was sort of like, I always find, I don't know if you have the same sort of thing with writing. I have like concepts and things that would be a nice idea to write a song with, and then like I have to sort of like hook them down like with either sort of like be it a lyric or be it a riff or something like that. And then like once you have that, you can sort of start like, it's almost like a cloud or something, to sort of like slowly reel it in, but you need something to sort of like tether it first, and then you can start actually like working on it and pulling it down. So the riff came first, and then the lyric came first. Then I had sort of like that kind of, I wanted to have a sort of like something you could walk to. Basically, that was the idea of sort of walking. Like I think like sometimes when you have your headphones on, you get the feeling you're in your own little like private music video. You know the scene, have you watched 500 Days of Summer?
Yeah.
Like that scene, like after Joseph Gordon-Levitt like sort of walks out, and sort of like just he's almost like everyone sort of shaking his hand, and sort of like that was the sort of that was the sort of thing I wanted to sort of like try and capture in a song, basically. And so I wanted to have that sort of like that kind of like sort of like 6/8 do gat sort of thing that you could actually sort of like walk to and kind of move to. And then it was just a case of like trying to sort of write the lyrics in a way that would be, and I never really tried it before. Like normally I sort of stumble upon lyrics, sort of like a sort of like playing around with words, and sort of eventually the meaning of the song will come out. Or it felt a bit more intentional this time, instead of like I want to write a song about this, and I wanted to have like like each lyric to sort of be like sort of a little like tip of the cap to something musical in a sense. So you've got like you've got like a line with backbeat, you've got like swing melodies, and then like the line with like highs and lows, and sort of wanted to sort of do a little bit where you could like have a lyric itself, but then also like have the lyric be able to be like expressed musically as well. So sort of like when like for highs, for example, like we had a slide guitar sort of go like wah, and like play like a high note, for example, and then sort of like all those little bits like that. Sort of like it was kind of quite meta, and I wanted it to be sort of meta in a sense, so that like the lyrics themselves were fun, but then if you listen to it again, you're sort of like, oh yeah, like each lyric's got a little like he's doing that with it, or he's doing that with it, kind of thing.
That's really cool. Because we spoke about how you kind of write your lyrics as well. So this is obviously a new style of writing, a new way of kind of approaching music than you have before. But obviously you have quite a few elements because you play an instrument. So that is really cool. I know a lot of people worked on this single as well, as far as I'm aware, for the other instruments. Talk about that collaboration and how that came about.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, like the people in it are my band, basically. All the people that I met while I was they're all people I met while I was at uni. So so Johnny Chung on bass, Bethany Graves on keys and backing vocals, Alex Marshall on electric guitar, and then Louis Shaw on drums. And then we had like sort of like just other bits and bobs that were kind of like miscellaneous instruments and things that I had that like various people played as well. And yeah, I mean, like I'm a very, in terms of like an arranger, I think, or like in a band situation, I'm quite a passive member of a band, in that like in terms of like my role in in my band is obviously I write the songs and I write the arrangement of it in terms of like the harmony, like how the song is structured. But then like I'm not a drummer, and so like if I try and write like a drum part, like I won't do it as well as someone who can play the drums can. So it's sort of like it's very much kind of like here's what I've done, like how do you feel about it, how do you want to like interpret it, and then like and that all of my band are such talented musicians, sort of their interpretations are always absolutely fantastic, and like and it's nice to have like, I don't know if you have the same thing like with the band that you've got now as well, but like when like you want to get people like excited about like you like to have their own little stamp on something, because then like if they're invested in it, then they'll be more likely to sort of like not like go the extra mile and sort of like to put a bit more like effort into the part they're playing, as opposed to just playing a straight sort of like
right
like, emotion, sort of like, oh no, like I could put that in there, I could put that in there, and that was the case with everyone. They all had some really amazing ideas, and And so yeah, I was quite passive in the sort of like, okay, here's the song, what do you think about it? And then from there we then sort of sculpted it together.
Yeah. Oh,
Nice.
that's, yeah, I totally agree. Like when you have other like creatives in the room, they can definitely, like them bringing their own style to something can take your initial idea some completely elsewhere.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know, you know the gig I did last, I had the song No More, which is very electronic based, and it's quite hard to emulate in a
Yeah.
live
How
settings.
do you
But I remember,
like into a live band setting then? How did you do that?
so it was really interesting. I worked with my pianist who we kind of did an acoustic set the first time I met her. So we made an arrangement that that was very stripped back from what the original was. So then we had to add other elements into it as soon as the band sort of got a little
Yeah.
bit bigger. But as soon as the drummer came in, it just completely changed the vibe. And then there's a bit of a drum solo that we do live now, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, like I didn't even imagine this would go to that way, you know, that place. And I want it to be on the record now. Like it was
Yeah, yeah,
completely
exactly.
different. So I think it's so special when you have other people, you know, like you said, as passionate about your music as you are.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference.
And it's really lucky to find that as well. I think like if it, like I think having a good I mean not just a good band but like and a good group of musicians but like just a good
Yeah,
support network of people who are like interested in what you're doing and want you to do well and sort of like you know who don't just sort of like just you know just put in like the 9 to 5 equivalent of like in a band rehearsal sort of thing. They you know they all
right.
want possible is a really good feeling, definitely.
Yeah. Well,
And
you know,
what I was going to say, what and I think another thing that you said there as well, sort of like the fact that you like you've taken live elements and that you want it to be in the album. I think it's another really it's a good thing to have as well to actually like I think you should road test songs before you record them because
yeah,
I think because I mean one like you find things that are really cool that might be on the album, but also like I think audience reaction is another thing that like you know like if an audience like they're not too keen on a song or whatever, then and you've already recorded it, sort of like well now I've got to release it, and like I know that people aren't too
yeah,
things. So I think road testing songs is a good thing to do first as well, just to see if like
yeah,
because I mean the idea of recording a song is like obviously to I think nowadays especially obviously streams are like you get such a small money out of streams like the money is in playing live, isn't it? So like you've got to be able to play it live if you want to like
yeah.
that's sort of the whole point in a way. And so like I think
That's true.
having a road tested song that works is definitely you know it's definitely
That's actually, yeah, no, that's actually a very, very good piece of advice because, yeah, like you said, when you kind of are seeing the audience reaction, first of all, if you can't emulate a song that you've done and people enjoyed, like it can
yeah
go either one way or the other. Like they're like, oh, I don't really get it, or I love what you've done now. But yeah, I mean, even doing it live, we've kind of made it a bit more jazzier. There's a couple of more ad libs that get a bit more reaction than.
yeah
So you're like, oh, like you said, like if I had road tested the song before, I could have recorded it in the way that it did. But I think actually, like you said, it's all kind of a learning process, right?
yeah absolutely
Yeah, and also you have to have a consistent band. This band is quite new that I've worked with, but I
yeah
know with the UCL lot that you kind of worked with, you've worked for a long time. So I
yeah I
feel
mean,
like they also get your flavor. They bring their own, like they, you know, you've been with them quite a while now.
yeah, exactly, and it's quite it's in a way it's nice because then like if I do write anything or sort of come out with anything that sort of doesn't seem very like me, kind of like then like I think they know sort of like kind of what you know, without ever sort of like trying to define exactly what it is that is like a Leo Kelly G song. Like if there's something that's not a Leo Kelly G song, they're sort of like it's like you know
Yeah,
like there's this kind of like understanding and a feeling of like we can't get behind this in the same way as we can with like if there is a certain song. So it's quite nice as well, sort of having that consistency.
yeah, for sure. So what are your plans for this single? You know, obviously it's doing quite well. It's, you know, a recent release. Are there anything new that you're going to try, or have you got any upcoming shows that you're planning to do?
So I think with this single, what I've realized, I think, is that like you need to, or what at least with the release, like you have to incentivize people to do things, and I think like asking people is fine, and like people are more than willing to do you a favor, I think, but like you need to find a way of like incentivizing them to do something, and I think that's the thing that I've been like trying to work out how to do this time. So sort of I tried a little bit like that. That's hence like the merch giveaways and things. It's kind of like pre-save my song and you'll get something, as opposed to like pre-save my song, thank you very much, and like and you know
Yeah,
like, listen to a song, but like you know if it's being done as a favor, sort of like I don't want to sort of like exhaust the goodwill of the people who sort of like who follow and support me. So there was that side of it that so I've tried to sort of incentivize and sort of have things that are like tangible that people can have, and then I think it's just finding more places to submit it. I mean, I mean, radio stations is one thing that I didn't really try that much last time. So like I've been going on, I've done 2 radio shows this week. I mean, this is the third sort of like semi-live radio thing that I've done as well. So I think doing that as much as possible. And then I think honestly, it's just going out and doing, like, just playing as much as possible. Like obviously with a band, it's kind of difficult because obviously like getting 5 people to actually turn up to the same place at the same time and get 50 turn up. You can do that maybe once every 2 or 3 months, I think. Going out and playing, like, so I'm going to do an open mic night tonight, that's just like locally, and just doing as many as possible, I think, and actually just getting in front of as many people as possible too. Because I think that's how I mean, obviously social media is great for getting your music in front of people, but also if you want people to come and see you live, then you've got to meet people live as well. And so I think it's just like it's one of those. I was saying this to my friend the other day as well. It's like, if only there was like a roadmap of like, if you do say like promotion for it, if you ask this many people to save it, then like this many people will. If it was like if it's like 10% or something, like, and it's just a numbers game, you just scale it up. Like I'll happily work hours and hours a day if I know what I have to do. But the thing with releases, things like there's no hard and fast, like if you do this, like X never equals Y. It's kind of like X like may sometimes equal Y, sometimes equal Z, like the guaranteed outcome of what you do. But if there was, I just spend all of my time doing that. And so it's just, I think it's just, you just got to work your ass off basically. Like,
no, I honestly, watching your hustle, I feel like it's one of the few artists that I have interviewed on this show that has been consistent, that's working hard, that's really trying to get their music out there, and it's good quality music. It's it's one thing to. It's generally, I've enjoyed your I was actually listening to your discography again, and I was like, you know what, actually, there's so many good, this interview could have gone so many different ways, because there's so many things to talk about with what you've released, and every single release is better and better. So, and I think you're working hard, and hopefully it will pay off, but it's like what you said, it's one of those things where some things work sometimes, some things don't. There's a lot of artists that understand, like, you have to be consistent, but consistent at what? Because if there was a solution, everyone would be doing it. Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of artists in who are watching now. Mark is one of them. He's got a release coming up, so good luck with that. It's hard to pre-plan something, because in some occasions, I have a friend who recently released her music on TikTok. She kind of just put a snippet in the background of her song, a video that she did, and that blew up. Literally, people took the song, they were putting it in the background, they were actually pressuring her to release the song. They were like, can we get it? She hadn't fully recorded, it was just a demo. So there was no release strategy. She just put it in the background of one of her videos. So sometimes it can be so random, and there's no strategy behind it.
It's not like cool as how it works either, is the thing. Like, I had another friend of mine, she had the same thing. She posted her reaction to her song played on BBC Introducing, and it got like 1 million views on TikTok, 5,000 extra followers on Instagram, like overnight. And it's just like you can't script that, And I think that's. But I think the other thing that like if any artists are listening as well, it's that, like, whatever you do try, I think you've got to sort of like keep it in perspective of like if it doesn't work out, like it doesn't work out, and it's kind of like, but that's not the world. And I think the nice thing about like music versus like being an athlete, there's not a time limit on music. Like you don't get to 30 and it's like, right, okay, you can't be a musician anymore. You can be, and you're like BB King was what, 80 something, and he was still playing. I think Chuck Berry was 90 when he passed away, and he was still doing open mic night every single week at his local, wherever it was. And so like, if it doesn't work out, it's fine. You can try again. Like, and it's always refining and honing, and sort of like, so, and it's always worth it's a tricky thing to balance, because like you want to take yourself seriously as an artist, obviously, but you also don't want to take it too seriously that like if whatever it doesn't work out, like it completely ruins like the sense of like your sense of self, or your so it's sort of like you have to take it seriously, but then like as soon as you've done it, it's like, okay, it's almost like it's like try, right, okay, I don't care anymore. And like, but not you don't care about it, but sort of like I've done everything I can now, and so what will be.
Ironic. I was just gonna say, ironically, that is, I don't know who's into a manifestation, but that literally is the method of manifestation. When you are trying to Yeah, like when you're trying to manifest something, you're meant to kind of have that in mind and like focus on it, and also then take a step back and say, actually, it'll happen. I just don't need to like put all my attention to this goal happening, but just
Yeah,
have it as a goal kind of like subconsciously. So it's a method of manifestation. So I'm sure you're manifesting at this point success in your career. And like you said, it's getting better and better. You're seeing more streams, you're
much.
seeing more traction, and I'm sure this is just the beginning. So I'm super happy for you. And Headphones is a tune,
Thank you.
such a good tune. It's such a, all your music, they all kind of take you, again, they're all, I don't know, there's something like nostalgic about it. It kind of feels like, yeah, I don't know how to describe it. It's like, oh, I haven't heard this before, but I feel like I have. And it feel, because maybe it's taken me to a memory that
Oh,
it's unlocking something. So I think all of your releases are like that for me. So
oh,
yeah,
thank you.
I love it. I love it. Congrats, Leo. I know we're keeping this interview short, but hopefully when I start my radio show, I hope to see you come into the station at some point, and definitely would love to catch up
That would be wonderful. It'd be nice to see you in
yeah,
person again.
in
Been,
person. Yes,
when did we jam last time? Was that, I think, was it in COVID or was it pre-COVID?
I think it was just after COVID,
Yeah.
just after.
Oh, so it'd be nice to see you in person again, sort of
For
actually.
sure, for sure. Let me know when you have your next gig too. I'd love to come and support as
Yeah.
well. So
And likewise, please let me know when you're gigging too. I've seen you play. I've not seen you like play your stuff live before, and so I'm really excited to start. And the last time we do remember we did, it was still at UCL. We did. Was it Crazy by Niles Barkley?
yes, we did.
Crazy.
Yes.
That's the last time I've like seen you live actually like, performing. So like, I'd love to see you play
Oh,
like.
amazing. Yeah, you know
With
what? I've got a cover of Crazy on SoundCloud, which is completely different to how we did it when we kind of first caught up. But yeah, it'll be lovely to like jam and catch up in person
yeah,
and talk more music. So if
yeah,
anyone is watching back, please do go support Leo Kelly G on all streaming platforms. Headphones is out now. It's a tune. You're missing out if you haven't heard it. And please go support by buying the merch and following Leo on all his social platforms. Thank you,
thank you.
Leo. It's been a pleasure as usual.
And I'll see you soon. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.